Today, I want to talk to you about everything you need to know before you start acting. So, most people don't quit acting because they lack talent. They quit acting because they misunderstand the business. So, today, I want to give you the things you need to know so you don't get scared and run off before you really have a chance to put your flag in the sand and get your acting on. So the first thing I want you to know is that acting is an art and a business. You're not waiting to be discovered. You are building a career. So no agent, no manager, no casting director is going to come to save you. It That's not discouraging. That should be empowering for you, because the misunderstanding is that I'm going to be an actor and then I'm going to get an agent, I'm going to get a manager, and the casting people are going to love me. um, that comes in time. And sometimes you can get an agent and a manager and they still don't do what you need them to do. So you have to do the work. So, as an actor, we want to make sure that we know that acting is not just an art, it's not just about talent, but it is about knowing the business. It is about you handling your career, knowing that you are the CEO of your business. So important. So many actors miss this. Number two, you don't need permission to call yourself an actor. If you are training, if you're auditioning, if you're studying, if you're reading scripts, if you're doing the work, you are an actor. You don't need credit first. What you need is commitment. Number three, and this is huge, acting is it's talent, but talent is common. What is rare is skill, is getting your skill set in order, because there's a lot of raw talent out there. And every now and then that raw talent gets attention, but it's not able to sustain because that actor, that performer, has not trained, does not have the technique to be able to do it over and over and over again. And this is where ego has to get checked at the door. Years ago, I was taking an acting class, and I had a lot of credits at that time. And so I noticed that I would get a little bent out of shape in the class because I wasn't being favored. And so one day I realized, ooh, my ego is not handling this well. So what I started doing was, before I would walk into the class, literally before I walked through the threshold, I would say, ego, you are not allowed in, because I have to learn something here and I cannot have you disturb my peace of mind. And so sometimes you may have the talent, but you got to put your ego in check and go, you know what? I'm going to these classes because I need to learn. I need to learn how to be able to recreate this stuff and over again. And if you're doing film, television, stage, you're going to have to deliver that material all, a lot of times over and over again. Especially if you're doing stage work. You may be doing a play for 6 weeks. Every night you got to get out there and deliver those same lines and do it differently. When I was doing stand-up, that taught me so much about owning material, because I would have to do the jokes this over and over and over again. And sometimes you feel like, oh, I don't want to do these jokes again. But that audience had not heard it before. And so you had to go on stage and just deliver it like it was the first time and enjoy it like it was the first time. And that's where technique comes in. Not just, I'm a funny person, so I'm just going to, no. The technique is about, you write down the material, you perform the script, but you do it like it's the first time. So the fourth thing I want you to know before you start acting is that there is no right timeline. Some actors might take off in the first year. Some actors may not take off for a bunch of years. Doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. You may need tweaking in different areas. Maybe what you sell, so you're not getting booked because you're very talented, but you're not being very, very specific about what you sell. So don't compare yourself to other actors and how their career is going, because when you do that, it's like you're taking poison. You're saying I'm not good enough, or they, you're comparing them, they're better, or they're not as good as me, but yet they're working. You don't know what's going on with them. Put your focus on what you need to be doing. That's what can help you in this business as an actor. So before you start, I want you not to be looking at what other actors are doing. What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? And then I want you to pay attention about rejection, because as an actor, if you want to be a professional actor and you want to work, there will be rejection. There will not only be rejection, sometimes you will get fired from a job because they miscast you, or at the last minute they wanted to go a different way. So you got to know rejection is not personal. And you have to be able to separate a little bit from your emotions and rejection. It's like, okay, well, there's another job coming up. I didn't get a call back on that, but I did you go in? Did you do your best? That's all that matters. Not whether they called you back in or they hired you. Yes, you want to get the job, but you also want to just show up and do your best, knowing that the audition is the job. The audition is the job. It's, people go, well, it's an audition. No, it is the job, because they will be able to tell if you're serious, if you're prepared, if you've done your best work. That's the job right there. Then they will call you back in for other parts. So you have to be very intentional when you audition or when you do a self-tape. Do your best. Otherwise, you'll get eaten up alive, because you will not have done your best. And then you start complaining about, well, they didn't call me in, but did you do your best? Were you really right for that role? Okay, so when do you start acting? You want to be an actor. When do you start? First, you got to build the foundation. We have all these fantasies of what we're going to do as actors, but none of that works if you're not starting to build your foundation. So this is what I want you to start thinking of and building as you are moving forward. As a beginner, don't think about sprinting. Just think about walking. Babies crawl, then they walk, then they run. Well, that's the same with acting. When you start acting, you're crawling, you're figuring it out. Then you start walking, and then you get ready and you start running. You don't run in the beginning when you don't have a clue as to what you're doing. So stop it. When you start training, part of your foundation will be you taking classes, taking a scene study class, taking on camera technique class, audition technique class, voice and body awareness like Alexander technique or actor physicality. You need all of that. You need voice, you need body movement. You may not be taking it all at once, but you're consistently adding different classes to your schedule. So you're constantly in the gym working out. It's like when you're doing scenes, you're working it out. You're practicing the words. You're practicing being a character. You're practicing when you're on camera. You are practicing being comfortable in front of a camera and not letting it spook you or not getting nervous, but just going, hey, how you doing? Making the camera your friend. That is a technique that you learn when you're in class. Then there's voice work. You're learning how to do scales, and how maybe it's just a regular voice class, or maybe you want to take a singing class. Then there's body awareness. Maybe you want to take a dance class, you want to take a fencing class, or stuff that allows you to be in your body, because as an actor you have to be in your body. And I want to say something about when people think they don't need class because they're talented. No, you need class. you need class. Even if you have a YouTube channel and you're doing funny videos, you need class because you need technique. Technique. Hollywood may come knocking at your door because you have maybe 1 million subscribers. Ooh, that's great. But can you sustain your performance on set? When they say cut, do it again. Cut, do it again. Cut, do it again. I remember when I first started acting, I was actually an extra in a film, and it was the director's first time, and it had to do with a lighter. I guess the lighter was something that was important in the script, and the lighter fell, and I play a nurse, and I kicked the lighter. Well, he didn't like how the lighter was landing. He made me do that thing 17 times. And I will tell you, I didn't even have lines. But at the end of that, I was like, I don't think I want to be an actor anymore. I don't think I want to be an actor anymore. And those things really do happen. You know, or you have a line and it's not coming out right. And this happens to a lot of actors, whether they're famous or they're just starting out, where you can't get that line out. You're having so much difficulty. Well, when you have technique, when you have taken your classes, you can make internal adjustments to help you. But if you've never trained, if you've never taken classes, and I'm not talking about taking classes for 6 weeks, that is not sufficient. You need to be in a class at least for a year, because it takes about 3 to 4 months for you to start to get the technique. It takes that long to just start to get it. And then it takes more months for you to own it. So I'd like to tell actors, learn in a class for at least a year. I think you need to be in there longer, but at least a year in the same class with the same teacher, so that you are really getting a good, solid understanding of the technique, and you can do it and you can repeat it and you're comfortable in it. Acting is not a sprint. It is a marathon, and we have to prepare and work out. Actors, for me, acting is like running a marathon. It's like being an Olympic athlete. You have to train and train and train and train. It's like being a doctor. They take classes, they go to school, they do more school, they do more training. Well, acting is like that as well. And when you're starting out, there's certain materials that you must get, you must have. Number one, after you are in your acting class, after you're in your voice class, after in your body, your movement class, or your audition class, or your self-tape class, or your audition technique class, and you have a sense of what you're doing, the next step is getting headshots. Not just any headshots. You want to get headshots that sell what it is that you sell best. In that moment, what is it that you sell that nobody can top you? Because as actors, we all have something that we do that nobody else can do. And it's narrowing in and just, what is it that I sell? And if you are unclear of what you sell, a technique I like to use is to pick 2 or 3 actors that you feel are similar to you, to your type, and then go into ChatGPT and say, I feel like I am a combination between so and so and so and so and so and so. Please give me their essence. What makes them unique? And what you will see is that all 3 will have similar things that they present: warmth, or toughness, or cool, or dorky, or quirky. And then when you see all of that, then you go, oh, I'm a little quirky. Oh, I'm a little edgy. I'm a little spicy. I'm a little bitey. And then from that, those words will help you define your brand, what you sell. I'm a cross between so and so and so and so. It really does help you so that when you go to get your headshots, you have an idea of what you're selling. And before you do the headshots, you want to plan it out. I want to go up for law enforcement. I want to go up for lawyers. I want to go up for the caring mom. So then those are three headshots that you want to nail: the caring mom, the lawyer, and maybe the detective. So you have to have the outfits for that. And then you have to have the energy for each character that you want to take a picture to get a headshot in that manner, so that when people see it, they go, oh, yeah, she would be a great nurse, or she would be a great doctor, or she would be a great mom, or she would be a great mortician. Whatever it is that you think you sell, you want to capture it in the headshot. So now you got your headshot. The next thing you have to have is a resume. A resume tells who you are, your size, your height, your weight, and it also tells if you are with a certain agency or not. And if you're not, then you put your contact information. And then maybe you don't have a lot of credits, but you did some plays in school. I would write down, the plays you did and who the character was and who the director was, and what your skill sets are. I do improv, I sing, I dance salsa, I do stand-up comedy. Write those skill sets. What are you good at? I play basketball. I play tennis. I play. I go and do. I'm good at bowling. Bowling, bowling, balling. I'm good at bowling. Right, you write that in. If you really excel in those hobbies, write it down. I'm great. I speak Spanish, I speak French, I speak Portuguese. Write down what languages you do, and that goes in your resume. Then the next thing is you are going to pick 2 to 3 monologues that you can memorize, that you can do, and tape it so that people get an idea of your acting style. Or a couple of, if you're not comfortable with the monologues, pick a couple of scenes. Find somebody in your class who would do the scene with you. Maybe you did a great scene in an acting class and you go, you know what, I want to record it. Hey, partner, would you record this scene with me so that I can use it to submit to agents or managers? So those are the materials that you need. The thing I want to bring home to you as you are starting your acting career is, don't try to do everything. Don't try to be everyone. Be as specific as you can. One of the most valuable things that I was given, tools that I was given, information that I was given when I was starting out was by my acting teacher, Roy London. And he would always say to us, don't try to be the whole salad. Pick a vegetable and be that vegetable. So, be the cucumber, be the carrot, be the lettuce, whatever that vegetable is for you, be that vegetable, be the potatoes. That's what you want to do. Don't, actors think I could do everything, I could do this and I could do that. Yeah, maybe you can, but you're not going to get hired for everything. They're going to hire you based on what you look like, based on how you show up in the room. That's what they're going to hire you for. And then later on, when you get established and you become famous, then you can do more things. But in the beginning, you want to pick one thing and really pursue that thing so you can build your credit. You can build your reputation in the business. So it's very important that you know your type, know how you come off on camera, what's your energy, what's your essence. Being a type is not to hold you hostage or in prison or put a label on you forever, but it's to give you a way to get cast for now. Then you can always change. When I started, I was a gang leader. Then I was the victim. Then I was the smart aleck. I I changed as I kept going. My age range for a long time was teenage. I played a teenager up until I was 35 because of how I looked. Nobody was hiring me for a grown up. I was playing all these teenagers. That can happen if you have a young looking face. They're not going to see you for older role. And it's important to know your age range, not your age, but your age range. What can you be cast as in that age category? So you want to know that. Um, and then you want to start auditioning. Once you got your picture, your resume, you know what it is that you sell, then start auditioning. Make a list of shows that you think you would fit, and submit your resume to the agents, to that casting director. You know, now you want to start paying for subscriptions to casting sites like Actors Access and casting networks and stuff like that, so you can put your picture up, your resume, and your videos. If you have videos, put it up so that you can start going up for auditions like other working actors. I want you to think in terms of, we've talked about what you need to know as you start, right? But I want you to think of stuff that you want to watch out for, because these are career killers sometimes. Scammers. Be very aware. Watch out for scammers. There organizations or companies out there that will come and say, "Oh my God, you have such a look. We could get you on a show. We could do this, but you got to pay us." Agents never get paid until you book a job and the check comes in, and then they get their percentage, which is somewhere between 10 and 20%, depending on if you are union or not union. So you don't pay before you get to perform. You don't do that. You don't pay an agent or a manager before you book the job. Stay away from people who guarantee that you'll get exposure. Unless they are the producer of a show, unless they're the one who is going to hire you, nobody can guarantee you that. Not an agent, not a manager, not a casting director, nobody, because they're not the ones making the decisions. Casting directors bring actors to the producers decide. But unless the casting director has been part of that production company for a long time and they let them just choose minor roles to cast, usually they don't have that power. And or you get teachers, acting teachers, who say the casting directors love our students, so if you're with us, you'll get cast. That's not always true. Yes, if you are in reputable acting classes like that the industry regards, then you'll probably get called in, because they know Ivana Chubbuck produces great actors. They know Larry Moss produces great actors. They know that Howard Fine produces great actors. They know that certain certain acting teachers, their students are going to deliver the goods. But that doesn't mean they always get the job. So I just want you to watch out for scammers. Watch out for those people who promise you the moon, and to get your money. No. That's not true. Real opportunities don't need hype because they got the receipts. So, another thing you got to be careful about is paying all this money. Certain things, like, you don't need a $5,000 demo reel. You don't need 10 classes at the same time. You don't need to take every workshop under the sun. Just pick something to start with. There are some really nice studios that will tape a scene for you for a couple of $100. Do that. For headshots, you want to go with a reputable photographer that shoots actors that look like themselves. You don't want to pick a photographer who is shooting actors and they all look the same. How are you going to stand out if you look like everybody else? The whole part of having a headshot is that it separates you from all the other actors. So I want you to, just be mindful of the scams out there. Be mindful of the pitfalls out there as you're starting your career or wanting to start your career. The other thing I want you to pay attention to is social media confusion. Just because you may have a lot of followers on your social media platform or your social media page doesn't mean you have an acting career. It just means you got a lot of followers. Visibility is very helpful, but we go back to craft. Craft technique is essential. It supersedes the followers. All right. So what you want social media for is to show consistency in your growth, in your development as an actor. You want your social media page to show that professional. You want social media to be able to highlight what you do as an actor. Not You don't want to get stuck with your social media and compare yourself to other actors and their pages. You want to stand out on your social media page and use it as a publicity tool. So you promote things you're doing, you share with the audience your growth in acting. You want to tailor your social media page to highlight the best of you. Number 4, as an actor, you don't want to set yourself up to wait to be chosen. Sometimes, especially in the beginning, you may get a lot of no's. You may get people go, yeah, well, we have somebody like you, or no, there's that we could do for you. I mean, I can't tell you how many times in the beginning I got no, 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 no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. But it didn't deter me. I just kept going. You have to validate yourself. You have to say why you are an actor. You have to keep plugging when nobody else validates you or supports you. Sometimes your family won't support you. They'll, because they're not trying to be mean. They're trying to protect you. They go, well, that's a difficult business, and you may not get anything. They don't know. But if you believe that this is what you're supposed to be doing, you just continue, have a regular job, and work on your craft on the side at night. My first 7 years of acting professionally, I had a day job. I had a day job to pay my bills, to take care of what I needed to do. And then I would take acting classes at night or on the weekend. I would do table reads and plays at night. So it didn't interfere with my day job. But you have to take care of yourself as a human being and support yourself as an actor. And acting costs money. It's expensive. So especially in the beginning, when you have to get headshots, you have to take classes, you have to do this. There's certain things you have to pay for, and it is costly. So you want to make sure you're taking care of yourself, making sure that you have a place, you got transportation, you're eating properly, you got you're able to get yourself a little wardrobe. Again, acting is an investment in the beginning. It costs money. I don't know why actors think that, well, I got to get pictures, so I'm just going to pay $100 for them. Those are not going to be good headshots. I'm going to tell you right now. Anybody who's charging you $100 for your headshots, run, because it's going to cost you more. In 2 months, you'll have to take more pictures because those pictures didn't work. So just take your time. Remember, acting is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I want to say this: actors who succeed handle their money properly. They know that there's feast and famine, so they are careful about their spending. Actors who last create their own work. Actors who last, who have longevity, they track their auditions. They set goals that they can control, and it's important. And act actors who succeed network. They build relationships. They get themselves in a supportive community, because acting is not always easy. Sometimes, you have dry spells, and if you're in a good environment and a good community with other actors, they can help build you up. Then you got to let go, and you got to let no's not become your identity. A no is not "you're bad, you'll never make it, you should quit." It's more of "not today, not this role, not this combination." Detach your worth from outcomes. That, I wish someone had told me that early on in my career. Detach your worth from outcomes. Acting is definitely not for the faint of heart, but it is for those who are prepared, for those who are patient, and those who are persistent. The industry is very chaotic, it's very up and down. So you have to have a good mindset. You have to have community. You have to have your goals set. You have to have stuff that keeps you going. Have a day job, or have a side job, or have some kind of little business that is bringing income for you while you're in pursuit of your career, so that you can have longevity. You can win in this game we call show business. That's where acting smarter comes in, and for those of you who are contemplating a career, those of you who are starting a career, please go to my YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, which is Lydia Nicole Live. And my podcast is Acting Smarter Now. And I have so much information, so many tools to help you that are free, so that you can prepare to have an outstanding career. Why do I do this? Because I want to see my fellow actors win. And I've been doing this for close to 50 years now. It's 45 years as an actor. And I've seen actors come and go. I've seen people who were so talented, but they did not have a clue about their career. They did not have a clue about how the business worked. And so they were waiting for someone to knock at their door and discover them. And it doesn't work like that. Not at all. It's a fallacy. You got to put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy into it. You have to treat it like a business. So I am just tickled that you spent this time to get to know the basics of what you need as a working actor. And please, if this helps you in any way, leave me a comment. Let me know how you're doing. And if you watch my videos, if you watch my channel, buy me a coffee. Help keep this going, because it costs money to do these videos and this podcast. So I wish you the best. I can't wait to hear your story. I support you. I salute you. I want you to know that you are brave, taking the steps. You are brave, brave, brave. Keep going. Don't lose heart. And when you feel beat up, just take a break. Just stop. Just mellow out. Regroup, refresh, reset, and then restart. God bless you.